In other words, these people identify themselves by the cultural norms. What society doing is how they identify themselves. They don't know who they are apart from society or whatever group they associate with. That's all they know. So they don't have a concept of being an individual, of having their own ideas. So they don't go against the norms. They just accept what is. Now, unfortunately, from what I've seen in my 9 years in public education, most people in that sector are probably thinking about the herd, moving in that direction. Just heard that in California they passed the law saying that every child had to be vaccinated to go to school, that they could no longer even write an exemption to exempt their child from being vaccinated. That's part of the herd mentality, intertwined with culture. Some of us start out in this herd state and then we move beyond to the next stage. And so this ancient Indian study says that at any given time, then we have 20% of the population that's actually in what we call the individuated state. They are beginning to separate from that herd and recognizing, I have my own thoughts, my own ideas. I can identify myself by those rather than by society or the group that I'm in. And this is such an exciting state to be in, because at this state, we want to know the answers. We're in that Aquarian age of wanting to know. So who am I? What are my beliefs? And these are the people that want to become self-aware. And so does public education really serve the needs of this 20%? No. So this 20% is dying for this information. And as adults, we can go to these awesome conferences like the Transformation Conference, the UFO Conference. But kids, if their parents aren't into it, they really don't have access to those. They can Google some things on the internet, maybe find a class. I know when I was 12 years old, I somehow found a transcendental meditation group in my neighborhood and lied to my mom I was going to play with a friend and got involved in this group. But that was really hard to do, and somehow I had to find the money to pay to get my secret mantra. I don't remember how I did that. But anyway, it's tough for kids to get into these things. So we want education to be able to serve this 20%. And then we've got this top 2 to 3% that at any given time in evolution is really focused on becoming enlightened. You could look at Gandhi, Moses, Mother Teresa. Perhaps those were the people in this 2 to 3%, and they are actively seeking enlightenment. And this is so exciting because they've gone beyond that individuated state to blending with that collective consciousness. I definitely think Dolores Cannon was in that 2 to 3% because she was so connected to wanting to serve the whole and going beyond her own self. And so wouldn't it be exciting if we had a type of education that could lead kids through the individuated state to the spiritual state, where serving others and evolving beyond the physical plane was the goal, as opposed to just getting an 80% on your spelling test. Now, that would be true progress in education, in my opinion. So if we really look at what does education mean, the word educate is a Latin word, and it actually means to draw forth. So we all are these amazing, unique individuals with many past lives, perhaps hundreds, lives in other planets. And so we have a wealth of information inside of us already. And what we're here to do is learn how do we draw that out of ourselves. Now, most education doesn't care what's inside of anybody. They say, this is the material I have to teach today. I want you to learn these 20 spelling words, and that's what we're going to throw down you. We don't want to pull anything out. That's too much work. So the idea with teaching metaphysical concept to kids is being able to transcend this physical limited thinking in schools, going beyond that to saying what's more, to draw forth what's inside of us. That's what's really exciting, because we've all heard that, metaphysical talk that we are already all-knowing beings, we're already all perfect. We just need to realize that. And we already have a wealth of information inside of us. And sure, we could benefit by being mentored and helping develop what's in there, but let's draw it out first. So basically what education tells us right now is what to think. That's what society does, right? This is what's good, this is what's bad, this is what you need to think. Well, wouldn't it be exciting if we were exposed to conferences like this that teach us how to think. It's like, well, what do you mean, how to think? Well, I think with my brain. Kids don't even know what that means. Sometimes I even wonder that. Well, what does that mean, how to think? Okay? So there's a lot of tools we can give kids to teach them how to think. We can teach them through various themes that I've been teaching to adults for 20 years, but we can be teaching this to kids about healing, sustainability, dreams. Everybody dreams, even kids, so why can't we teach them about their dreams? Kids need healing just like adults, and they really get it when they're around different people and they say, oh, I feel a healing presence around this person. These are some of the things that we're going to be teaching at our school that's opening in the fall. You might be surprised to see quantum physics. And some adults were asking me when they came to some of our parent meetings, they said, well, my child's only 8. How are you going to teach him quantum physics? And I said, you know what? I don't know anything about physics. Physics, you need, calculus, all this. I said, I don't know physics, but quantum physics is a whole new field in itself where there are concepts that anybody can get. And the one that I love to talk about is the concept of non-locality, which is that you can have two people in two different places, but they're connected. Maybe they know what they're doing or what they're thinking. And kids are like, well, yeah, I get that concept. Like, sometimes I'm thinking about my friend and he or she will call me. I'm like, that's quantum physics, okay? Or when you go in, when there's an observer watching an experiment, the experiment is different when there's an observer watching it. Anybody can get that concept. And you don't have to know advanced math or anything. So, yeah, we're going to be teaching quantum physics. We're going to be teaching about the 4 elements. We're going to be teaching concentration, imagination, visualization, which several of my books touch on, cause and effect. How do we teach discipline to kids? Do we put them in timeout, or do we say, well, you know what? There's this really cool universal law called karma. And like the Boomerang song, whatever you put out there is going to come back to you. So if you go hit Billy, guess what? Something unpleasant might happen to you. And they're like, really? Yeah. So we don't have to worry about doing it. We'll just say, the universe is going to put something into effect. So all these cool things we can teach kids, going beyond the basics. So one of the things I love teaching kids about is dreams. So my daughter would have nightmares like most kids, and she'd come running in our bedroom in the morning and be like, oh my God, I had this scary dream. And, we'd start getting all metaphysical and saying, well, it really means that you're subconscious. And she'd be like, what are you talking about? So I had this idea to create this quirky man, the dream doctor, who was really knowledgeable and fun, and he could teach kids about dreams. So it's a wonderful way to introduce the concept of dreams to kids. Now, one of the things about nightmares, which all kids experience, even adults, I just had one a couple nights ago, and the big thing about nightmares is about control. Who's in control? So the idea of the nightmare where this big monster is coming after the child is because the child, in some way, is feeling that he or she is a victim. Oh, everything is happening to me. I have no control over this monster in the dream. Oh, I'm just, help me, okay? And as adults, of course, we can feel like that at times too. So the big thing for kids is, they're living in an adult world where adults are telling them what to do. They got the teacher telling them what to do all day. They come home, their parents tell them what to do. So obviously they start to feel powerless, out of control. So the big solution to that is, and especially in school, is giving kids more choices. All right? Say, okay, I'm not just going to dictate what we do today in class. We're going to have a choice about what projects we're going to work on or what we're going to do. And then kids are, oh, wow, I get to choose. And then when they start seeing they're powerful, the nightmares go away.